Deputy Richard Boyd Barrett and then Deputy Jerry Adams.
Yeah, Taoiseach, I want to know what discussions, if any, you are having at the committee about strategic development zones. Yesterday I had a briefing in Dunleary at Down County Council about the Cherrywood strategic development zone and effectively what is the building of a new town in South Dublin, in my own constituency. This morning I was at the Irish Glass Bottle Housing Action Group where they were discussing the strategic development zone in Poolbeg Peninsula with particular reference to the Irish Glass Bottle site. Now, Taoiseach, what I want to know is, are you looking at the detail of these strategic infrastructure project areas? And in particular, have you got a plan to make sure that out of these really very significant strategic development areas that we are going to get for the public housing and the affordable housing that we need to meet the disastrous housing emergency we are now facing? Okay. Because the evidence would suggest that we're not. In the case of Irish Glass Bottle, the residents group this morning tell me that NAMA, although they've asked them several times to meet, won't meet them. They want to meet Simon Coveney. They want the site, the Irish Glass Bottle site, handed over to Dublin City Council to ensure that that we don't get a miserable 10% of so-called social housing, but we get at least 75% public and affordable housing. And their fear is that NAMA is going to flog that site off to developers and all we get is a miserable 10%, when we're the ones who are putting in place all the infrastructure that the private developers will gain from. And similarly on Cherrywood, the Council are looking for 100 million infrastructure from the new infrastructure fund for Cherrywood, so that we can get the 8,000 residential units there. But the question is, given that this was a site sold by NAMA to Hines, an American property fund, are we only going to get a miserable 10% of these 8,000 units for the public? When we've paid and will pay hundreds of millions for infrastructure, they're going to make an absolute fortune. Are you not going to insist, or should you not insist, that we get a very considerable bigger proportion than 10% of Cherrywood for public housing and affordable housing? Because 10% is miserable. These developers are getting a free lunch, and I want some commitment from you, Taoiseach. They're not going to get a free lunch, and the public are going to get something back on these strategic development zones.
Jerry Adams.